What up? What up? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world, welcome back to our platform, our show. I'm your boy Drew. We are Option Forward. I'm always joined by the second half of the show, GQ Nesto. How you doing
I'm
today?
doing good. I'm doing good. What it do? What it do?
What up? You rested?
Rested.
You did what you need to do?
I did what I had to do.
Are you ready for this interview?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are in for a very, very special treat. I would say, in talking to her, the brief time I've spoken with her, I would say she's someone who approaches every opportunity with the same objective in mind, and that's to increase the representation, the education, and just inclusion of all women and minority women across the board. All right, ladies and gentlemen, she even beat Allison Felix in the foot race. I'm just playing. All right, but ladies and gentlemen, we have a trailblazer today. I'm sorry. Welcome to the show, Miss Milan Zoe.
Thank you guys for having me, and that was a beautiful introduction.
What? I've been practicing. I be in the mirror. Nah, I'm just playing.
He's pretty good at it.
No, stop. All right, but now, how are you feeling? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. It's been a really full day. Made a few stops before I came here and have some more afterwards. So it's a good day.
Okay, you had to do what they call it,
Kiss babies, shake hands.
Yeah, kiss
Shake
babies.
hands and kiss babies. There was an opening of a new female-owned, Black-owned bookstore in Pasadena. So I stopped by to meet with the owner and just congratulate her on her success. And then, yes, went to the Pasadena Black History Month Parade. Went to go support the NAACP, a few other minority companies that, of course, were out there representing. And now we're here.
Nice, and some more to do after this.
And some more to do after this.
Do you do a lot of reading?
I do. I would say that not as much as I used to. I do a lot more listening to podcasts and, Audible books and stuff. But I like to read as often as I can.
Okay, all right. So I know before we jump into the and correct me if I'm not pronouncing it, is it the Lonnie Land?
Lonnie Land.
Lonnie
Yes.
Land.
Yes.
All right, and the melanin.
Yes.
And the actively black.
Yes.
All right.
All of the good
Tell
stuff.
the listeners and the viewers a little bit about like who you are. What's your background?
Absolutely. So I was originally born and raised in New York. Shout out to all my New Yorkers to the East Coast. I then went to school at Howard University.
Wait a minute, Nas or Jay-Z? Before we go any further, don't answer.
It's so bad. I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble no matter what I say, but I gotta go with Nas.
Hey, there we go. We good. Let's continue. All right.
But no, after leaving New York, like I said, I went to Howard University, where I was a communications major with a concentration in public relations. Then I had a double minor in psychology and entrepreneurship. So I was in DC for about 5 years. I started my career in entertainment there at BET. I was at BET for 6 years. I was the youngest international employee on the corporate side for 5 of my 6 years. And then after the 6th year, I felt like I was no longer competing because I wasn't the youngest, coolest, hippest one in the room. And so I stepped away and started Lonnie Land Productions, which is my production company. A year later, I started my nonprofit, which was Changing the Narrative. It's a 501c3. And then most recently, my newest baby is Melanin Plus, which I opened 2 years ago.
What kind of business is that?
That is a health and wellness space that I created specifically to help minorities matriculate through their health and wellness journeys.
Okay. What specifically do you do there, though?
Well, I'm technically certified in endomology, body sculpting, sound bath, sound healing.
Okay. You're like an assassin.
Something like that. Something like that. We have a certified health coach on staff. I have a certified yoga instructor with our company. So just a little bit of everything. I created it really to be a 360. So the services that we offer are secondary. We're community first. So we've done things like hosted monthly wine and book clubs and free weekly workouts. Just to, again, kind of touch on the spectrum of wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and otherwise. We just hosted a financial literacy event a couple of days ago. So just spectrum.
Is that where the hot yoga takes place?
That's not where the hot yoga takes place. So the instructor that we have with us at Melanin Plus does teach hot yoga. He teaches it at Core Power. But we actually have some offerings coming up where we'll be offering them specifically to the community outside of people who have memberships, just so that they could experience yoga as well, because it's a beautiful thing.
All right. Now think it back. Yes. All right, what 14-year-old version of you self think you would be where you are right now?
Yes and no. 14-year-old version of Milan believed that she would be here. And when I say here, I mean serving in a capacity where my mission first is people. Like I said, community, give back. That's always been innate in who I was. I didn't quite know that it would look like this. If you ask 14-year-old Milan, she was going to be in the WNBA, but also take Oprah's seat.
That's still possible.
So, Duncan and Oprah.
But yes, I was gonna be a dunking Oprah, which I know just sounds so crazy, but 14-year-old Milan really believed that she could do absolutely everything, and I think for me that's a testament to my mother specifically.
Wait, but you say past tense. I'm pretty sure still, you're kind of living it right now. So.
Yeah, no, I am. Transparently, I think I struggle with it not being exactly what I thought it was going to be or what I thought it was going to look like. I think some people are a little further along in their journeys and having already accepted that, God's plan is the best plan. And I know that, but I still feel like I struggle with it not being what I thought it would look like.
Are you a perfectionist?
Very much so. I would say that's accurate.
What month is your birthday?
I'm a Gemini. My birthday's in June. So there's also very strong duplicity, right, in my personality and who I am. And so, some days I wake up wanting to take over the world, and some days I want to be a stay-at-home wife, and I just there's this back and forth of figuring out really what's important, because what we thought was important at 14 and what we know now are just two different things.
So how do you deal with that though? Because I know, you're a woman of faith and stuff like that, and God is very important in your life.
Absolutely.
But let's not sit here and act like we don't get frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Like we be like, yo, Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
But then I don't like the way this wheel, the direction the vehicle is turning.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I trust you, right? I mean, I trust you, but I'm still not feeling this. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not happy. So how are you able to deal with that? How are you able to readjust and snap back into it? You know what I'm saying? It's all yours anyway. I give you all the glory. So,
and I think, that to your point is probably the most important thing. It is all God's, right? And we are just a steward of what it is that he's given us. And so when I realize that everything that I do is not for me, but really to be able to be a light and a representative of his glory, it really doesn't matter what happens or doesn't happen, because it's exactly what God has ordained for my life and my steps. And I've realized now more than ever that I'm always exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm talking to who I need to talk to, and I'm where I'm supposed to be at, regardless of, again, the plans that I had for myself. And God has just always come through.
What would you say your developmental years, I would say for a woman, if don't be mad at me, but I would say it would take place during those college years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what was that experience like for you, during those years? What transitions and what changes did you recognize in yourself during that time?
College for me was a very, very interesting time. I don't think that I really experienced college the way that I would have liked to. And as I mentioned, I was at Howard, and it was a beautiful school and a beautiful experience. But I think that I was absolutely in survival mode. I think that because I had these huge aspirations for myself and for my future, I struggled with being present. And to be honest with you, at 31, it's something that I still struggle with. And it's something I've struggled with my whole life. Never really being happy or content with where I was, what I was doing, all of the things that I accomplished, which were amazing, right? To even be at Howard, I wasn't just there, but I was accepted into the honors program, which only 6% of incoming students, were accepted into. And, I played college basketball, and I was president of different organizations, and all of these things that from the outside looking in looked like success and looked like happiness, but for me it was never enough. And again, it's still something that I struggle with.
Are you someone that always got to be on the move? Like, do you feel unfulfilled just sitting down with a warm blanket, drinking some hot cocoa?
Yes. Transparently, yes. I just always feel like where much is given, much is required. And I feel like God has given me and blessed me with so much more skill set, especially as it relates to people and meeting people and giving to people. And so when I'm not doing that, I feel like I'm being selfish and I feel like I'm not living in my purpose and I feel like I'm not fulfilling God's calling and I'm not helping anybody by sitting on the couch under a blanket drinking
you
hot
don't want to be
cocoa.
in a onesie? You don't wanna,
I love a good
onesie.
onesie. I love a good onesie. I just don't feel like I'm living in my purpose when I'm
On
doing
Christmas?
that.
Christmas?
I do love
Yeah,
Christmas.
okay,
Christmas is actually
okay.
my favorite holiday. Christmas is actually my favorite holiday, and I'm such a holiday girl. Like I'm like we'll decorate the whole house. Everyone has to be in matching onesies, and we're gonna make gingerbread houses, and I'm gonna build a cocoa bar, and all of the things. But no, holidays obviously that's a little different. But I would say on an average day, I just can't enjoy that. I think the way that other people can, and I would love to.
You mentioned earlier that you want to be a stay-at-home wife and just
Sometimes.
chill, right?
Sometimes.
So is it because I don't think not necessarily you like giving up on your journey, but like
Yeah.
you being frustrated. Is that when it usually kicks in where you're like,
Yeah.
man, you know what, I'm just about to chill.
Yeah,
Like-
no, that's exactly what it is. You asked earlier if I was a perfectionist, and in a lot of ways I am. And so for me, I feel like if I'm 60% there, or 70, or even 80, 85, 90% there, if it's not 100, I don't want it at all.
And there's also value in that too. I mean, I know stay-at-home wife sounds like sounds like an easy thing, but I think, do you feel like you would excel in that role, in that stage in your life, like especially mom, whatever, housewife? I mean,
Humbly, I think I would be a great mom. I think I'm not a wife. I'm a girlfriend. I think I'm a great girlfriend. And yes, so I think that it presents itself a new challenge that I feel like I can dominate. And so now I want to focus on that because I just want to be the greatest at whatever I do. And if I don't feel like I'm currently being the greatest in whatever aspiration or career move I'm making, I feel like if I pivot to being the stay-at-home mom, I would be the greatest mom and wife ever, and at least I can be number one to somebody in some capacity.
what's your signature dish?
Okay, my signature dish. I mean, I think you'd have to ask
You
my
said
partner, but I would say I know he really likes my tacos.
No.
So I would say like a good salmon taco.
Okay. But
Yeah.
that's just a tortilla and the
No,
salmon.
it's not.
you know what I mean?
See, no, your tacos are just a tortilla. That's what makes it my signature.
It's levels,
dish.
bro. It's
There's
levels.
levels. So I was thinking like, something that takes a whole day.
Oh, I don't cook anything that takes. I don't have. a whole
okay.
day. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not that much of a stay-at-home wife. I don't have a whole day to cook a meal.
So I know like your extensive resume. We talked about the BET is the Viacom. Are they aligned? Are they together? Like
Yeah.
was that a separate I guess career?
Oh no, so BET
timeframe?
is a subsequent company under Viacom.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was with both entities simultaneously.
Okay. All right. So what was the change? You were there,
Mm-hmm.
and then like time passes.
Yeah, and I started
Things
a production
change.
company and I brought other things. For me, I absolutely loved my experience at BET. It was life-changing, and I was so grateful at the time. When I first got the job, it was right before I graduated. I didn't have a degree yet, and I didn't want any job but that one. And that's kind of been my story, the whole way. I've always gotten exactly what I wanted and what I set out for. And so at the time, it was beautiful. Like, it was a mama, I made it moment, when I left, it was really because I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I felt like I wanted more control over the content that I was creating and disseminating, because I feel like content is such a heavy influencer on community and on culture. And as much as I love BET, I didn't feel like I was really using the gifts that God had given me to fulfill my purpose. And I just wanted to create content that I felt like was more, game changing and narrative shattering. Yeah.
So let's talk about this conversation you had with one of my favorite artists, or part of a band or group with Questlove. Tell me about that experience.
Good old Quest.
How did that happen? How did that happen? What was going on at that time?
Very interesting story. I'm glad you asked. I was watching Essence Black Women in Hollywood. They have their award show every year. And I was watching it pretty frustrated. I was listening to these different Black female actors, producers, and they kept going on stage one by one, accepting their award, and essentially talking about how important diversity and inclusion and all of the things were. And I remember as each of them went up, I was doing research. And I said, it's so interesting that this is so important to everybody. I knew it was important to me. They're at this award show. Of course, I was upset I wasn't there. Not getting an award, but I was like, all these people in the room haven't done half the things that I've done in Black Hollywood. Can I at least get an invite, So I'm a little salty watching the show. And I'm like, okay, not only are these people here, but they're also being awarded. So what y'all really doing? And so as I'm, researching, I'm like, so interesting. They are all talking about how important this is. And I think at the time, was before BLM and all the things, but it was starting to become like a hot topic, and buzzwords, right? Inclusion and diversity and blah, blah, blah. But none of them were actively doing anything to actually affect the culture and to kind of push that narrative forward. And so I was on Twitter tweeting, because, that's what Twitter's for, to rant and to talk shit. Can I say shit? Shit about other people. And so, I'm on there ranting about what I would do if I was given opportunity and chance and platform. And I had met Amir Quest prior, so we followed each other on social, and he saw my tweets, and he tweeted me and said, well, what you gonna do about it? And I was like, well, I would start a nonprofit, and I would do this, and I want to educate youth about what it is to be content creators and the importance of it. And I didn't know what it was until I was in college, and if I had the opportunity prior, I would have done this, and I'd be so much further along, and all the things. And literally, I woke up the next day, he Zelled me exactly what I needed to register the 501c3, start the nonprofit, and he still sits on our board of directors to this day. So I love him. I appreciate him. Shout out to Quest.
Dope.
Yeah.
So let's talk about fear, right? Jesus. So I remember doing our talks. You know what I'm saying? It was more along the lines of where it's based on perception, and I think that has something. I believe we were talking about something as far as the relationship between law enforcement and the community.
Absolutely.
Would you like to elaborate on that as far as?
Yeah. So what I was saying was that I feel like, in part, and I think the in part portion of this is important, because I don't want to necessarily take all of the blame or responsibility off of law enforcement, or really anybody outside of the Black community that operates in a way that is not fair, conducive, honest, all the things. I feel like in part people do things to hurt us or to stifle us, not because they hate us, but because they fear us. And that has kind of two levels to it. So I think they fear the power that we have when given certain opportunity, exposure, platforms, and all the things. But our conversation was also about the fear that I feel like people have because of the perception that people have of who we are. And that perception, more times than not, is based on what they see in the media. And so when we live in a world where Hollywood is ran primarily by white Jewish men and they're controlling our narratives, and you're watching a TV show and you know the black character, the minority character is a drug dealer or a gangbanger, and before the episode's over he done shot and killed everybody. When you see somebody the next day that looks like that person, you are naturally going to shoot first and ask questions later, because there's a innate fear now, you know, just again because of media. And that's why for me it's always been so important, with Lonnie Land and with the nonprofit, to be a producer and to be a content creator and just to educate people about the importance of having that power.
I like it. I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. What is your definition of success?
It's ever changing, right? You asked me about 14-year-old Milan. I mean, you could not tell me that at this time in my life I was not going to be married to a multimillionaire living in a multi-million-dollar house with 2 kids, 2 dogs.
Why you looking? You looking in a certain direction?
I'm looking around the room.
All right.
I'm looking around the room. Make sure all the cameras are getting my angle. But that's just what I believe to be success. Quite frankly, because of, again, what media, right? The things that I saw and the things that I aspired to, because this is what was deemed successful. I would say now, my definition of success, again, forever evolving, but is being content and being happy. I have had amazing experiences, personally, career-wise, relationships. You know, I've traveled the world and I've seen things and I've experienced things, I've had things, but that didn't mean that I was happy. And there are moments where I've found happiness and success having less than times where I've had everything but just wasn't at peace.
GQ, you got anything?
Negative.
You're just absorbing all this wonderful information.
I'm observing, 'cause, I mean, shit, like, yeah, that's deep.
I would say being a or I would like to ask you, like, being a perfectionist, because I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And being involved in so much. How do you find, like, your balance? Because I know, like, the smallest thing. I'm just speaking on because you a June, I'm a June baby.
When's your birthday?
But I'm the 27th. I'm not a Gemini.
That sucks for you.
I know, like,
and she's like confident about it too. She's like, that's terrible. That's terrible news.
If you like being 2 people at the same time, you know, but not like.
Hey, she said productivity. You know what I mean? You need those 2 personalities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Crazy and crazier, right?
Exactly. Crazy and crazier.
But like, I know, like, maybe, like, just for example, like, the smallest thing can just throw it off. It's like, say, for instance, you've done all this preparation for an event. It's supposed to start at 8:00. Yeah. And then people don't show up until 8:15. And even though it's a good outcome in the end, but with that moment in itself it just threw you off. So what do you do to kind of, like, reel yourself back in? Like, wait a minute. Let me shake things up the right way.
I think as I've developed in my spiritual journey, I have a deeper understanding that whatever God has planned for me is so much better than what I could have ever envisioned for myself. And over time, the more I've let go and let God, the happier I've been with the outcome, and also less stress on the onset. So I just think really just, you know, trusting God and understanding that my story is already written and He already has a plan. And He has heard my many prayers about the PJ that I need and the yacht and the house on the water and, you know, the beautiful kids and the amazing husband and all of the things. And whatever I'm supposed to have and whatever is meant for me, I will. And whatever of those things I don't have, like maybe I would have like drowned in the boat or like died in a plane crash and I didn't really need the PJ, you know? I was like, I don't want the PJ. But.
Yeah, no, you don't want that PJ.
And I ain't gonna lie, this makes you want to go microdose. You know what I mean? Like the level she's in, like damn, like that's pretty dope.
And I am a proponent and a vocal advocate proponent of microdosing. So I'm here for it.
I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that either. I was like, say less.
Yeah, most people wouldn't, but I think that for me, it's very spiritual. Did you
bring some with you?
I didn't. You guys should have said something because I would have. I absolutely would have.
This would have
Matter
gone
of
deep.
fact, I should have told y'all to bring me some.
Well, no, because he's like, we've had like several guests who were like into that, like really, and it started it out with the ayahuasca. And Mike Tyson, talking about it, and we doing research, and he's always like, "Bro, let's go up to the canyons and let's do it." And I'm just like, "Bro, no." like no. But just hearing you say, I'm like, maybe she got a point, because you on 100 right now, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah, I think it has a like a stigma to it, right? And people think that people who microdose, they kind of act a certain way or look a certain way, and that's not the case at all. Like I said, for me, it's very intentional, it's very spiritual. I've had life-changing revelations and experiences utilizing shrooms. I think that there's great opportunities specifically in the minority community from a health and wellness standpoint, as well as from a financial standpoint. And so I am a proponent of shrooms across the board.
The clarity.
Yes.
I think like just hearing you, like, I'm like, damn, like that's some, because it's easy said than done, and then like you sometimes hear people that like they express themselves and they're like, oh, well, money doesn't buy happiness, right? And then you feel like they're bullshitting, right? Yeah. But then I hear you talk, and I'm like, oh shit, like she really means it, because it takes a certain like I think state of mind to get to achieve that, and I think that like I'm like I do want to like make it rain. Like I do want a helicopter. I was like that would make me happy. Yeah. But then you look at the flip side and you're like, wait, there's other things that are a little bit more powerful or more meaningful, not necessarily to like you. It's more like it's bigger than you, and I think that's absolutely. Like having that clarity. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, and on that. I do. I'd be remiss if I did not say this. I stand by everything I just said about the shrooms, and I believe them wholeheartedly. I believe what you're speaking to. I have to give glory to God, because my ability to sit in a room, whether it be a small room like this with 2 individuals, or in a room of, hundreds of people, and for people to not only hear what I have to say, but to be able to digest it and feel it in a way that they normally wouldn't, is absolutely one of my gifts from God. And so when you ask me about sitting at home in a blanket and a onesie, when I'm not exercising that gift, and I'm not connecting with people, and I'm not talking to people, and I'm not allowing my my voice and my energy and all the things to continue to give God that glory, right, in whatever capacity, that's when I don't feel fulfilled, because I'm a talker. This is what I do. This is what God gave me.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about a time where you had a little too much fun. When's the last time? What is the turn up alarm? What is turn up alarm?
Can you elaborate?
Well, like when you wake up the next morning and you like praying like, God, if you give me, or even during, like, God, you get me through this, I ain't doing that no more. Like does that happen often in your?
No. And I would say being, a perfectionist also lends to being like a control freak. Mm-hmm. And so I honestly cannot remember the last time that I've like drank too much, or I kind of was in a space where I was like, God, just see me through. I do like to drink, don't get me wrong. I like to drink, I like to turn up, shrooms, all the things. But,
Light them up.
But I still do so in somewhat of a controlled manner. I don't like that feeling of, because I'm always on the go and I always have things to do. I work out every single day. I don't like the idea of waking up and not being able to be active. So, you know, like I said, I drank. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the last time where it was like, oh my God, that was too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what we're reflecting one more time here, right? So think about a time where you dealt with something that wasn't a positive outcome, and you felt like you failed.
Okay.
What did you do to get through that, and what was that experience? If you don't mind sharing.
No, I don't mind sharing. A few come to mind. A time where I felt like I failed, and what did I do to get through it?
Or can you fail?
Of course, everyone is capable of failure. I think my biggest failures in life, from my perspective, has been failing people. I would say specifically in past relationships. And for me, it has translated into me carrying a lot of guilt. And so when you ask, you know, when did I feel it and what did I have to do? I just had to go through a lot of self work to let go of the guilt that I felt for how I feel like I've affected other people.
So you was Mean Girls?
Love Mean Girls, favorite movie all time. No, seriously. Shout out to my girls. We actually just went in a group of 20 to go see it on Broadway like 2 weeks ago, dressed in all pink. You guys can find that on my Instagram. It's a super cute video. But yes, for a long time. But not because it's innately who I was. I was mean because, you know, coming from New York, I'm still a New York girl, born and raised. It was kind of like, I'm going to hurt you before you can hurt me. And that was kind of, you know, it was a survival tactic, but...
Executive decision.
Yeah. I'm in charge.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
One of us gotta lose, and it ain't gonna be me, so...
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely politics, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Actively Black.
Yes.
You know, you share some dope news with me.
Yes,
let's talk about that. What is it? What is that?
So Actively Black, a lot of people know it as a apparel brand. I'm actually wearing a hoodie from our Black Women, our superhero collection.
Nice.
Which I actually got the honor of actually modeling in. So there was 4 models that debuted this collection, and I was one of the 4, so that was really exciting. So again, a lot of people know it as an apparel brand, Black owned, phenomenal quality. You know, people always look to like a Lululemon, a Nike, all those like kind of mainstream brands. I would genuinely say, of course, I'm going to be a little biased, genuinely say better quality. Love the apparel. However, we are so much more than an apparel brand. I recently signed on as head of content. And so whereas, yes, the clothing is kind of, you know, our uniform and our hello to the world, we are actually building it out as a full media conglomerate, and I will be producing, creating, and directing original content through the platform.
Dope.
Yes.
Wasn't there a licensing deal?
Yes, I mean there's been many licensing deals. I'll name some of the major ones. We just did a deal with Muhammad Ali Estate, and so there's a bunch of things coming out with that. And I would say the bigger one more recently is we currently have the only apparel licensing deal with Black Panther. So we have the only official Wakanda collection.
Step your game up.
Known to man. Yes. And there's some really other major ones that are, you know, coming down the pipeline. But I would say those are 2 of the largest thus far.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Yeah, we definitely need to micro those. Like,
microdose it is.
And talk to God.
Yeah. Oh, that's
that part.
He hears every day.
Yeah, he hear me right now. I'm gonna need microdose, bro.
I mean, he grew it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is true. It is not a drug. It is a plant, and God gave it to us. So thank you, God, for the shrooms.
I would say, like, whenever you see a successful man, a successful woman, or whoever it is, there's always a strong team.
Yeah.
Should be a network.
Absolutely.
Behind that person, that individual. Who's your team? And who got your back? Who your day ones? Like, I know somebody who you want to give credit to right now. This is your opportunity. This is your award. They didn't invite you. I invited you here. Here you go. Give your award speech.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So first and foremost, of course, all honor to God, because without him, none of us would be here. So that comes first and foremost. I would say that I am very much so a product of my mother. My mom was a serial entrepreneur. She was a phenomenal mom, a phenomenal wife, and a businesswoman. And I really feel like I got my business acumen from her. I've had a lot of day ones and friends and all the things, and I don't want to name any because then I'm going to forget one, right? And then there'll be some other ones that are offended. But I have a really, really, really strong group of women around me. And it's a pro and a con, right? So I would say that as successful as I am, I would say the majority of my friends, in my mind, are far more successful than I am. Bigger brands, bigger businesses, more followers, more money, right? But I do believe in not always being the smartest in the room, not being the most, the most successful and all the things. So I have some phenomenal women in my circle and my network. And then more recently, I would say that God gave me my person. And for me, that kind of just completes the circle. I could not bring another person into my life, and my circle is complete because he gave me my person, and I am happy and I am fulfilled and I am supported and I am loved, and
that's gotta be true, because you just glowed right there. You just lit up.
You gotta put them on a second though. You know what I mean? You gotta scale up. You know what I mean?
You know what's so interesting? You guys wanna hear something so crazy? Throughout my career, I've done tons of interviews and all the things, and been in different relationships and situations at the time. I have actually never ever in a public interview ever attested to being in a relationship, let alone talked about having a partner or a boyfriend or
you're a boss lady.
Whatever.
You can't do that.
Yeah, you gotta keep it cool at all times, poker face. But I think that that's also because you're always kind of trying to hedge and trying to figure out who gonna see this interview, who gonna see this interview, and who gonna be sliding my DMs, and who gonna be checking for me, and but I'm so far removed from that space. And if my man wasn't my man, he'd be the prototype, and I don't even know who else or what else God could give me that'd be better for me. And so
that's notarized.
Here we are.
That's notarized. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right, okay.
Put a stamp on it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You might as well.
Yeah,
lock that up.
Well, y'all gotta talk to him about that.
Yeah, lock that up. All right, but okay. So I got a question I prepared for you. Right?
Okay.
All right. You out with your girls?
Okay.
All right. It's like
number 2s.
It's like Harlem, the Harlem Show.
I love that show.
It's like your watch group. And at the conclusion of the show, y'all say, you know what, let's go out and have some drinks, right?
Okay.
So soon, you and your ladies, y'all go out, y'all at this nice establishment. Everybody's looking good, dressed all dapper, right?
Sounds about right.
Right? But out the corner of your eye, you notice one of your homegirls, your day one, her ex, comes walking in, right?
Been there.
He walks in with an innocent looking young lady, right? You don't know nothing about her. Mm-hmm. They sit at the table, but you know what he did to your girl, right? Are you, right? He broke her heart. Mm. She saw him and she started crying. You saw a little tear come out her eye.
Oh, present day. That night.
Yeah, that night.
Oh, okay.
Because the memories start coming back.
Okay.
And you recognize that because that's your day one.
Yeah.
Are you taking off the earrings and the heels, going over there to approach him and speak your piece? Or are you going to simply, at the end of the night, you're going to walk past the table, you're going to approach a young lady that he's on a date with and say, don't let him do to you what he did to her, and just keep it moving?
Ooh.
That's a very interesting question. I think that one of the things at my 31 young years of age that I still struggle with is minding my business. Because that's probably the right answer, right? But I gotta keep it a bug. It's whatever she want. Like, that's my girl. So whatever she want to do, I'm riding. We're gonna figure out the rest later. She want to walk over and, earrings off and what's up and woke up and all the things, and that's what we doing. If she want to, play classy, we're gonna do that. But whatever she want to do, I'm gonna do. That's my girl.
For sure. So what's next? What we got coming up? Anything we should be on the lookout for any of the nonprofit, anything that you got going on? Let us know.
So just relocated Melanin to Pasadena, and we opened our new offices on Lake Avenue. So that's really exciting. Just looking to really rebuild a new clientele. Got a bunch of events coming up. March 11th, I formed an organization with a few other women called the Melanin Collective. Which is all minority women in the health and wellness space. And so in downtown LA on March 11th, we're doing a launch event that will include sound bath yoga, a panel, and then a pop-up shop for all of these business owners. Jesus, what's coming up? So much. We have some workouts that we'll be hosting that are coming up. Tennis.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. The tennis.
Very excited about this. Just hired a private instructor. My partner is a phenomenal tennis player. I'm pretty okay. I'm athletic, but we are working on playing semi-pro mixed doubles.
Okay.
And so we just got a private instructor so that we can really take that serious.
And win.
Win what?
No, I mean like.
Oh, and win. Yeah. No, we don't lose.
I'm like, win.
No,
we
don't lose. We don't lose. We've never been defeated in a game of spades.
Okay.
He's my forever partner, and we've never lost. So if anybody want to play spades, what's up? Big Joker, Little Joker, just send me to spades. Let us know. But no, tennis is the next on taking. So that's going on, and like I said, just a bunch of stuff with Melanin that's coming up as far as community events, activations, offerings. Yeah.
All right, most def. All right, and ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end. Unfortunately, this has been an amazing time and an experience and an amazing opportunity for myself, and I'm pretty sure for GQ, you know what I'm saying, learning and listening to both our previous guests that we just had. But I always open up the microphones for people to share what is on your heart with the listeners and the viewers out there. We're going to be hospitable right now and offer it up to our guest, Ms. Milan. Is there anything you would like to share or leave with the listeners?
Sure. This is an interesting conversation I actually had yesterday. I did an interview for Black Pages Pasadena, or Pasadena Black Pages. And they asked me a question about self-care, and I got to say something out loud that I've been thinking and feeling for a long time. And so I'd like to share it with you guys as well. So I think the word self-care is kind of like this buzzword, right? And specifically as minorities, I think we think about self-care as like deep conditioning our hair on Sunday and like making sure we got proper shea butter. So, our melanin is popping and all the things. And while that is equally as important, what I have learned through my self-care journey, and I just want to, implore on other people, is that it really starts with the inside out. And so again, your hair being deep conditioned and your skin not being ashy, those things are important, but mentally, emotionally, the things that we're doing to take care of ourselves, to pour back into ourselves, are just equally as important. And I just really want to encourage people to figure out exactly what that is for them, because for everybody, it's different, right? Like for me, it's working out, it's going to yoga, it's going to my HIIT classes, it's playing tennis, it's spending time with my partner, but for everybody, it's different. And I have realized as of recently that the more time I take to figure out what fuels me, the faster I go, the longer I go, the better I go. I even just hired a nutritionist, which a lot of people find to be interesting because I'm such an advocate, in the health and wellness space, that I'm usually the one teaching other people. But I feel like I have gotten myself outwardly to a place where You know, I look good and you know, I feel good, but I want to take it a step deeper, you know, and just really, again, start on the inside out. So figure out what self-care is for you and do that. Nothing more, nothing less.
Dope. Jiggy Nesto.
Well, thank you for sharing your story. I think this is definitely great content. Thank you. We really like I said, I'm usually good with feelings and like kind of like trying to empathize and read our guests, and I felt like you're very genuine, and it's pretty dope. All your accomplishments.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Wish you the best of luck, and definitely keep us updated in all your events. I think it would be really nice to show some support, and especially because you have a great cause. So
thank you.
congrats
That's such
on
a
that.
compliment. So thank you. I'm glad you can feel my light. That makes me happy. I pray for that every day. So.
Is those I want to say those microdosing or those little what is it, sound bath or whatever?
I think it's a combination of all of the things. But I always, when I pray in the morning,
All the toxins been out.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
no facts. And I always pray and I ask God, if nothing else, please allow my light to shine. Like allow people to
You
feel
shining
my light.
for sure.
So
You shining.
I appreciate that.
I think it's amazing to find such people who reach like certain heights. You know what I'm saying? Like you may think it's average what you're doing. It's not that special, but to someone else, it's greatness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes when you are in presence or in the same atmosphere of that greatness, that person, that entity that is coming from it, that energy is not always positive. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dang, dude, I expected you to be this and you're not now, but it's good. It's good to meet people like that, and you're definitely one of those people who just like that light. You know what I'm saying? And you and your partner, man, just great people. And I'm not impressed easily, but like yo, it's cool, and I know like you know God has a lot to do with that. You know, I'm so focused. I'm so big on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not no super Christian or nothing like that, but I am a believer. You know what I'm saying? And everything is through him. So once again, we love you guys. We thank you. Find that purpose for your life. Believe in yourself. Do something. Make change. We're out. Option forward.